All right. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. It's your girl, Tech Ty, and this is Talking Tech with Ty. That's me. And I'm joined by not only a professional out here in these streets, but my homie, Tim, Mr. Meaningful Work. So before we go any further, I just want to do what I always do, tell y'all I'm grateful that you're here. I'm grateful that you like, that you comment, and that you share with each other. So I look forward to continuing to bring these great guests and speakers to you. So away we go. Tim, hello.
Hello.
Oh no.
You
Oh,
made it sound so like hello. So I just wanted to match that fancy energy, if you would. Hello.
don't try to embarrass me out here on my live. Thank you very much, Tim, Mr. Meaningful Work. Olaore, executive producer of Meaningful Work content, tools, and connections. So since he's showing out, but he's really good at that, I'm gonna let him slide, But the reason why I really wanted to have this conversation with Tim is because we are now in the third year of the disruption of a global pandemic, COVID 19, and is now officially COVID 2022. And the world has changed. The world has changed personally, it has changed professionally. And, I am a big advocate and believer and enthusiast of transformation. I want everyone to transform their lives professionally and personally in whichever means that they want to. And here on LinkedIn, where there's so many opportunities, I want to promote that. I'm promoting community and promoting communication and all these things. But I think it's very important to think about mindfulness, to think about wellness. And Tim is really big on his movement, which is meaningful work. And I'm going to let Tim introduce that and tell us exactly what meaningful work is and why he thinks that he can just be self proclaimed Mr. Meaningful Work. Tim?
Ty, thank you. I'll take that. Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. And yeah, I am very excited about the things that I have learned in this journey. And it really came about, as a lot of things do, from a personal journey or personal experience. I am notorious for jumping in and out of projects, different hustles here and there, and um, just always dabbling in a bunch of different things. And what I found was that I was, to put it lightly, hemorrhaging time
Oh,
and attention and for my family, for monies and finances, because I was always in a bunch of different things. So at the top of 2020, new job, moved to a new city, moved from LA up to Sacramento area. And my normal thing would be to find the new hustle, right? So even though I have a full-time job, I'm like looking for the next thing to do. And because of that awareness of like, you know what, all this hustling and dabbling is really not helping you. It's more so hurting. So figure out what is meaningful for yourself. And so that's where it was born. I was like, you know what, let me make that discovery of what is meaningful for me, what I can focus on, what gives me energy, what adds value to me. Let me make that the hustle. And from an accountability standpoint, I'm going to call myself Mr. Meaningful Work so that anybody that asks me about it, I am forced to reflect and communicate and articulate what I have found meaningful recently. So that's really how it came about. And I started off by just doing personal self-reflection, just took my phone and recorded every Monday what I found meaningful in the week before and called
really?
that Meaningful Monday and posted it on Instagram, posted it on LinkedIn. And
Influencer. Sorry.
where's my blue check? Where's my blue check?
On
Um,
its way.
but and so I was doing my own personal reflections, and then I figured, let me ask other people, what are other folks finding meaningful in the work that they're doing? If we look at folks that are influencers or are sitting in roles that seem very aspirational, how do they get there and what do they find meaningful? So I started asking some of my contacts, did it on Instagram Live for a little bit, and finally got approved for LinkedIn Live, where I took those conversations and brought them to LinkedIn, rebranded it the Late Afternoon Show because we wanted to have a cool late night kind of Jimmy Fallon jokes and music and dancing kind of vibe while we still get some of those lessons. And so the Late Afternoon Show was that movement from my own personal reflections to really getting some insights and learnings from others. And we are almost 45 episodes in. It's been an incredible journey, and we've really started to see some themes, some pillars that are common to myself, that are common to different organizations, that are common to these leaders, as far as what informs experiencing meaningfulness in the work that you're doing. And so right now we're trying to create some content, create some education and some courses for organizations to apply that and benefit from it, to make sure that their associates, their employees are motivated to stay, and leaders know how to create environments for meaningful work. So that's kind of where we're at right now on the meaningful work journey. So I appreciate you taking the time to chat with me about it.
Absolutely. So, for those of you who don't know my friend Tim, like when he says 45 episodes, he means 45 episodes. He's in season 5 of his The Late Afternoon Show, which you can catch on what day?
Tuesdays.
And what time in your time zone? Because I'm East Coast.
In
So what?
California, they're typically 5 p.m. Pacific time, but sometimes when I'm interviewing folks on the East Coast or in other countries, we
Mhm.
do it at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, but typically 5 p.m. Pacific time.
Okay. So 5 p.m. Pacific time is 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you should very much know that his content is quite meaningful, but it really does have that late night aspect. There are jokes, there are this fun loving, just really engaging content and discussion. And I I watch along while I'm doing my work and preparing for my Talking Tech with Ties. And there was an Encanto, the movie. There was a dance break just recently, and I was typing on my computer and then just watching him and 2 guests, and I'm just like, "This what we
We
doing?"
were busting moves. We
I
were
mean I
busting
mean,
moves.
they're really going
Yeah,
at it. I mean, I
yeah.
will link it down below. Look at me. I'm a YouTuber
Yeah,
linking
no.
down
Yeah,
below.
links in
Who
the
do I think
description.
I
Yeah,
am?
come
Who
on.
do I think I am? But moving
You-
forward,
Yeah,
now Tim knows that I am big on talking to and about upskillers and reskillers. So when you talk about meaningful work, you said you had just gotten a new job, which is wonderful. You had just moved from LA to the Sacramento area, as well as Tim is a family man. He's married, he has 3 young, beautiful children. And for someone that is doing all these projects, all these hustles, full-time father, full-time parent, full-time husband, full-time work, full-time a lot of things, brother, son, whatever, you know, why, like, let me bring it back. For those who are upskilling and reskilling, what would meaningful work mean to them? I know you have like kind of a crux or some pillars of your work, and I want to talk about that. It's permission, perfection, people, and purpose. And if that's changed, please let me know, because I would love to know more about how meaningful work can be injected in the day to day, as well as what that means for people who are upskilling and reskilling.
absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things that um, we found out in a recent episode that I had with a gentleman by the name of Zach Mercurio, who he's a researcher, he's a professor out in Colorado, and he does a lot of work around purpose and meaningful work. One of the things that he talked about was meaningful work can really be boiled down to finding evidence of your significance, right?
Mm,
Evidence of your significance, that you are here for something, to do something that has broad impact. And so in the conversation about upskilling or reskilling, um, it to me, it's if I need to upskill or I need to reskill means that I want to be significant in wherever the world is moving. Like I want to have impact in wherever the world is moving. I don't want to become obsolete from a skill standpoint
Mhm.
from wherever the world is moving, but not just upskilling and reskilling for the sake of keeping a job or making more money, really doing things that energize me. So, if one of the first things that we ask on this meaningful work matrix that you lovelily describe is, permission, ownership, having ownership of who
Mm.
you are, what your values are. We ask, we have this acronym called ASK, which is what activates you, right?
Okay.
What's the thing that you do that gets you energized, that gets you going, that you're excited to jump into? So, what kind of activities, what kind of projects, what kind of environments activate you? And then two, S is what are your strengths, right? What are the things that you're naturally good at, that give you energy as opposed to drain you when they're doing, when you're doing them. And
Mhm.
so when you figure out those tasks or activities that really activate you, when you figure out those skills that you naturally do, whether it's conversation, like you're easily jump into conversation, you easily build rapport, you're very easily good at analysis. Like for you, organizing is your superpower. Like you don't have, for me, it drains me when I see a calendar and project roadmap and all these different things. Like I'm like, but for you, that comes naturally. um, and then the K is about kickstarting a plan, right? So you
Mm.
know what strengthens, you know what activates you, you know what your strength is, and you put together a plan. And so once you have ownership of that, then okay, these, you take it to the next level. Okay, so these are the areas, knowing these things that I want to develop in, right? So we all know that you're going to get more bang for your buck doubling down on your strengths and what activates you than on your weaknesses, right? Your weaknesses, if you focus on them, you're probably only going to get to just pretty much proficiency, right?
Okay.
But if you're really trying to get to expert level, knocking out of the park, you're going to get more bang for your buck doing those things that you're naturally strong in and that naturally activate you. So for folks that are thinking about reskilling, for folks that are thinking about upskilling, do some introspecting, figure out, hey, what activates me? What are my strengths? And what plan can I put into place that helps me double down on these things, get better in these particular areas? Obviously, look at the industry and see where the demand is, and see where folks are kind of moving towards, where technology is moving, and if those things fit into that. And then focus your time and your resources to really grow and develop in those areas.
Goodness. I mean, we're barely into this, and this is quite meaningful. So, I mean, we're talking about the pillars of meaningful work, and we're just talking about permission. And
Yeah.
we get into ask. So, you know, do you want to continue and do you want to just go through,
Sure.
perfection, people, and purpose? Or
Yeah.
like I'm really here for it because I want to be able to provide these resources to leaders, you
Yeah.
know, to career changers, career newbies, wherever you are, because on this powerful platform that is LinkedIn, you know how I feel. LinkedIn, I love you. Boom, boom.
Pumping the
You know,
heart.
like
Pumping, pumping.
I want people to understand that opportunity is not just the job that you work. Opportunity is
Mm,
not just the career that you have and that you grow. Opportunity is what you want to make it. It is the contribution you make
yeah.
throughout, whether that, and you should always make that contribution first to
Yeah.
yourself,
Yeah.
and then that contribution to those in your immediate circle, your family,
Absolutely.
your neighborhood, it resonates it from inward outward. So
Yeah.
talk to us about maybe is there a progression in those P's and your pillars?
Yeah.
Talk about permission, but go ahead and
Yeah.
tell us what the
Yeah.
progression is. Mhm.
So
Activate.
permission. that ownership permission is really that baseline. Like, okay, so you understand who you are, what activates you, what your strengths are.
Mhm.
And then you build on top of that. And we've kind of moved the perfection and people. So people come next, right? How do you, so once you know who you are, like you said, once you know internally who you are, what activates you, what your strengths are, who are the folks that you can connect with, build trust with, to help elevate that and help move you to the next level. And so the thing that we focus on that people aspect is what we're calling SEE, which helps you focus on your and this is a way to build trust, right? And relationships, connections all start with trust. That's why I love like communities like Career Karma and some of these other organizations that are really, really focusing on not just the technical skill, but the community and building trust within the community. So we show folks what are the pillars of building trust after you figured out that permission piece. So first, it's your smarts, your logic, like the things that you kind of naturally your track record, right? There's to show that you've been able to make good decisions, to show that you're really thoughtful about the results that you're driving towards. So smarts is that first S.
Mhm.
Then you talk about E, empathy, right? You're going to be able to build
Definitely.
trust or receive trust from folks when they feel like you're bringing you understand where they're coming from, um,
Absolutely.
and you're really doing things from an empathetic standpoint. So there's a whole lesson that we have on empathy and how to build that. So your smarts, which is like your logic, your just decision making and results. Your empathy is how well you are able to show folks that you're thinking about them and their background. And then the other E is your what we call exposure, your authenticity. Like, do you bring your whole self, or are you kind of guarded?
Ooh.
Are you kind of do you have a different person that shows up to work and a different person that's at home? Do you have a person that's at school, a person that's online versus offline? How well do you show up and do you expose yourself? Not in a negative way by way of that type of exposure, but really just showing your true and authentic self. And so when you have these three things, right, the smarts, the empathy, the exposure there, which is a model from the trust triangle, you will for your when you look at that for yourself, other people are able to see, and if they see that you have good authenticity, they see that you have good smarts, they see that you have good empathy, you're able to build trust, and vice versa. You can see that in other people, and then move from that permission piece to the connection and the people piece by building that trust. So
Here
you
I
go
come.
there. Here we come.
Get ready, because I am someone who I have a different perspective on the exposure. I find that people are too exposed at work because for too long people have been too attached to their jobs, you
Mm,
know? And I think that COVID has dynamically shown the world in its great disruption that you should not be so attached to your job that a part of who you are and how you value yourself is attached to what you do for work and what
mm,
type of work you do. So I'm someone who I am authentic, I am genuine who I am and how I am. But I think that I need to reserve a large part of myself for myself and my loved ones by not giving full exposure of tech tie when I'm at work.
mm.
Because when I'm at work, I'm still friendly.
Yeah.
I'm still I'm still amicable, I'm still that person, but I don't think that I should give 100% of myself to my job from this time to this time, and then to leave, which means closing my shutter like this,
Yeah.
because you work
Come
remotely.
on,
Hold on, I'm having
come
technical
on.
difficulties because you work remotely, and then have nothing left for my partner, and have
Yeah.
nothing left for everyone else. And that, oh goodness, look, I messed up my whole screen. Closed it up. Hold on, people. This is what happens when you're live, you know?
There we go. Clarity right there.
I just don't feel like I should give all that, because then I don't have enough to give the people that actually refill and replenish.
Yeah.
So we won't get into all of that today, but there
Yeah.
might be a part two so we can talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because exposure, I think exposure should be measured, because to me, I prioritize my wellness and my
Mhm.
self-care higher.
Absolutely.
So I toggle. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you know what? 65%. I'm gonna keep the 35
Yeah.
for, when I'm not at work, which is the
Yeah.
majority of my day. Only a
Yeah.
fourth of my day do I actually, okay, because I'm good with that math, but I just
How
have to make
about
sure.
that mental math? I was like, okay, 24 divided by 4 is divided by 6. So you carry the shoes,
I'm
like,
like,
yeah,
oh,
about a
wait,
4. Yeah.
it's the third. I know, I want to say, wait a second.
We'll just call it
I
a
don't
third.
have
We'll
36
round
hours.
up or down. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, it's the third. I don't want
Yeah.
y'all coming for me in the comments, YouTuber, in the
Yeah.
comments below. But yes, so a third of my day is spent at work. But what about who I am and how I am in the 2/3 of my day with the
Yeah.
people that actually replenish me and provide the love, the care, the attention, the the snuggles, the
Yeah.
hugs,
Yeah.
the Encanto dance breaks.
Yeah. Let's go.
So
Dun-dun-dun-dun. Yeah.
we can definitely get into that, but we won't get
Yeah.
into that here, because I want people to get more access to, the pillars of this meaningful work.
Yeah.
So we have gotten to permission,
Hmm.
and at permission, we talked about ask, right?
Yeah.
And then we were just into people, and
Yeah.
people we got access to see.
Yeah.
So where do we go next, young guru?
So so from there, then we talk about excellence. So that was previously
Ooh,
what we talked about, perfection,
okay.
which is not in the traditional sense. You hear perfection and you think perfectionism and really trying to get to this level of everything is great, there are no mistakes, and that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is the pursuit of excellence, the pursuit of growth.
Nice.
Once you figure out what that thing is that you are excited about, that your strengths are really aligned with, when you find the people around you that help to rally around, they know who you are, they know what your goals are, then you want to be able to use that to elevate your skills, right? To elevate that knowledge, to deepen that knowledge
Mhm.
based on that. And, intrinsic motivation speaks to having that opportunity for growth, having that opportunity for development, really inform somebody's sense of meaningfulness in the work that they're doing. If you're not growing, if you're not developing in an area that really excites you, then you're not really finding that work meaningful. And so, a lot of folks that, if you look at some of the engagement surveys, Gallup does an engagement survey where they have 12 questions that measure engagement, which is essentially um, the thoughts and feelings that folks have, their commitment to the work that they're doing, the teams that they're on. One of those questions talks about opportunities for development, opportunities for growth, for career and professional development. And so, if that's not there within the organization, folks are less likely to be actively engaged, more likely to be actively disengaged if they're not giving those opportunities to grow and perform. So,
The great resignation
yeah,
that followed the great disruption of COVID.
yeah, yeah,
Here it is, we had, pardon me, here it is, we had millions of people en masse lose their jobs, me included, you know, just without any warning.
yeah,
Millions just in this country
yeah,
alone. And then you would think that people would clamor to, when they got jobs again and the economy had bounced back or somewhat recovered from the initial shock of this disruption. I always call COVID a disruptor,
yeah,
personally,
yeah,
professionally, collectively,
yeah,
right? You would think that people would clamor and hold on to the jobs that they had if they didn't lose them, or that they had now gotten again if they were
yeah,
furloughed or new jobs. But no, now people realize that the type of loyalty that they were giving to companies prior was not what they were going to get in return.
mm,
So, who would have guessed that there would be a great resignation shortly thereafter? Me.
mm,
I could, because you know what? I'm a millennial who comes from the '07, '08 graduation class where we graduated into a global financial crisis.
Recession!
You
Yay!
know? So it was like, hey, you know what? There isn't as much opportunity. We were told go to college, get a job,
Hmm.
get married, buy a
Yeah,
house.
yeah.
You're the most educated generation ever. And then when we came out,
For what?
nice for what?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
as a millennial, as an older millennial, I could kind of see that trajectory, you know, and that coming. And I was not surprised by the great resignation, but I do like this pillar. I like alliteration. So when you said the P's, I was like, I'm all about the pillars of the
yeah,
P, but now it's formally perfection and it's excellence. I like
yeah,
this feeling of excellence. I like
yeah,
this pursuit of growth and intrinsic motivation
yeah,
because yes, it could be applied to not it could be it is applied to the professional because like you said, if people do not feel engaged at work
yeah,
personally, then it can't resonate professionally.
yeah,
And I think now where we are in our world of wellness, of self-care, and understanding that you decide your wellness, you create your boundaries,
yeah,
that this is a principle and a pillar that is resonating quicker because people are getting 1-2 punched. I know
yeah,
that was 4 punches, but
yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
you know,
1, 2 times 2, 4, you good. Yeah.
you know.
All the graphs in the background, like, what? That's crazy. Yeah,
Listen, y'all signed on,
yeah, yeah.
Please stay though. Don't go.
Don't leave. Don't leave.
Keep my hands to myself. I'll keep them out of the frame. But I really like this pillar. And,
Yeah,
I just wanted to bring it home to what is
yeah,
going on in our world right now.
yeah.
So
And
I
folks
will
have a lot of choice. Like folks have a lot of
yes.
choice these days. And the tables are really switching. Like where back in the day, like when we were graduating, even some maybe half a generation before that, where
Mhm.
all of the power sat with the organizations. They sat with the employers or they sat with the schools. It was like big university house gives degree. This degree translates to big employer house who then takes it. And then we're just like in the middle, like, okay, I'll pay you $100,000 and then here, take my degree, please give me a job. Whereas now, if folks are very clear on, again, who they are, what excites them, what activates them, what their strengths are, they're good at connecting, building trust from other people and being able to trust others and building this network. And then they pursue excellence. What you're doing is that you are now switching the tables and you become the personal brand. Like you become the brand that organizations are looking for. There's been so much more efforts in sourcing, right? By way of like organizations that are looking for folks to come to their without folks having to apply. Like they're actually going out looking at folks that are creating bodies of work around their passion, creating
Yep.
bodies of work around their strengths, around their those types of things, and then they're asking them, please apply to our organization. So what you're doing
Absolutely.
is you're building your personal brand and you're giving yourself more choice as you pursue this excellence, as you get clarity on who you are, and as you're building trust, with your network. So there's definitely a lot of benefit there for sure.
Well, Tim, they kept coming for us. Oh, these millennials and their avocado toast. Well, guess what? We want avocado toast and we want equity. What's up? We
And
want
what
diversity, we
is that
want
a problem?
equity, we want inclusion, and we
Yeah.
want belonging along with
Yes.
avocado toast with,
Yes.
the
It's not just avocado
edible
toast
flowers.
anymore. Yeah. Oh
I
yeah,
I
like the
also
little
like
purple thing.
yes,
Yeah.
I also
Yeah.
like edible gold on mine, so we
Oh,
want that
that's
too.
that's
All
too
right.
much for me. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Oh my
You
gosh.
are
Oh my
eating
gosh.
gold? You are eating gold? Yo, that's when wealth hits on another level, right? When you just put gold in your mouth like that, like, let me get to
Pause.
your level. Huh?
Pause. Please.
Gotta pause.
All right. This is live. All right. I'm about to say there's some children watching, but I hope not. But this is live. So can we let's come back. We were at permission. Our permission led into the people, and the people led into the excellence. Where do we go next, Mr. Meaningful Work?
So the funny thing about the last one, which is purpose,
Ooh.
is that it is not necessarily last. We put it last because we want it to land. Like we want, if there's anything
Mm.
that you take from it, understand the significance of purpose. And when we talked about earlier, as far as meaningful work and how that ties into significance, folks want to know that they matter, not just to themselves or to their to the world that's closest to them, but then like the world in general. We are living in a generation that is more connected to global issues and situations than any previous generation. Like everyone knows what's happening in Ukraine. Everybody knows what's happening in
Absolutely.
Australia. Everybody knows what's happening in Jordan. Like everybody is so connected and they see
And
everything
almost
that's
in real
going on
time.
almost in real time, almost in real time. And so now folks, knowing that there is this wide visibility, there is the reflection of, okay, so how do I impact that, right? How do I impact that either on a professional level or on a social level? And so folks are, and if they don't know for themselves, right? So the search for personal purpose is a journey in and of itself. But if folks are not far enough on that journey yet, what they want to do is align with organizations that have some clarity of their purpose in the greater world. And so, leaders and organizations that are able to articulate how they impact the world in general, how they impact their community, their purpose statement, having clarity on their purpose statement helps to attract folks that are still on the journey trying to figure out what their personal purpose is. Like, what, if I can align myself with an organization that is clear on their purpose and their
Absolutely.
purpose aligns with, again, that permission, right? I know what activates me. I know where my strengths are. And I'm looking at this organization that has a stated purpose or mission that aligns with those things. Like that's where you can really start connecting yourself to a greater purpose and know that you're here for a bigger reason. So and there's some graphs. There's an ikigai. It's a Japanese concept of
Yes.
ikigai, and it
Like the Venn
talks about
diagram. All
exactly,
these things coming
exactly. So
together.
what the world needs. What am I good at? What do I love? What can
Exactly.
I get paid for? Like, and you have this beautiful combination of all these things to really help figure out what is it that I need to be doing, or what is it that I need to be being to be living into my purpose.
Well said. I mean, as you know, I love alliteration. So the permission, the people, the perfection, and purpose. Fire, fuego, chef's kiss. Mwah.
Wow.
But permission, people, excellence, purpose seem hits different.
Yeah.
And I do like the iteration, the update of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So I'm all about it, Mr. Meaningful Work. So we have talked about the pillars of meaningful work, but could you share with us like how this can be implemented day to day? Within ourselves first and then outward, because of course we should start with ourselves, and then that's how we get meaningful work to be a movement. And I know
Yeah.
that this is your movement. So
Yeah.
how do we implement meaningful work and the pillars?
I'm really happy and glad that you asked that question, because if I was to articulate my
No.
man
When I get real deep into stuff, I get in
yeah,
straight
yeah,
Woody mode.
you got to
Woody
get
Melon,
into
and I was like, "Oh God, they know you're from Brooklyn, but you don't." I had my hands all in the screen earlier. Let me
because if you didn't know before, now you know.
forget
Now you
about
know.
it. Keep it down at the hey. You talking to me? Okay, sorry, sorry.
Told y'all I was gonna get silly. We said it. We said it. You
Have
said it.
you have you
She's
seen the
done
late
so.
afternoon show? Have you been
Yo,
here
come
before?
through.
This is what we
Come
do.
through.
Oh, please,
Come through.
sorry. How do you implement meaningful
So
work?
anyway, I was saying that I appreciate that because my mantra is The reason I'm building up this whole journey, this whole meaningful work thing, is because to date, the idea of meaningful work has been a very similar to purpose. It's like it's a very nebulous kind of idea, like meaningful work, meaningfulness, meaningful life. Like it's very hard to grasp, right?
Yes.
And so
Right.
my mission is to make meaningful work ridiculously easy to apply. Like that is what I want to do, that folks would come to Mr. Meaningful Work or what the platform that we're creating, and they will be able to find, I am a software developer. What is meaningful work to me? Oh, it means this, this, and this in my conversations with clients. It means this,
Don't
this,
give it
and
all
this.
away now.
I know. You know what I'm saying? So,
I did not sign an NDA, so please
right,
don't give it all away.
right. So the first thing, I mean, the easiest thing is really to start at the beginning, and it starts with an ask, right? It starts with simply, right? We have a worksheet that we have where you just list, like very simply, list all of the activities that you do, right? Just list all of the activities that you do, and as you're listing those activities, you can put a plus sign, an equal sign, or a minus sign for it gives me energy or it activates me, or it I don't like it. It does not give me energy. It does not activate me, or neutral, like it doesn't do anything. Like it's just it is what it is. So you get this list of all of the activities that you do on an average day. Of course, it might change from day to day or from week to week, but just take an average day of all the things that you do. Then you take a list, then you write a list of the things that you're naturally good at. Now, this can be personal reflection. You can ask people, you can ask your mom, your dad, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your kids, or whatever, and say, hey, what are some of the things that I'm naturally good at? Right. And so you list those activities, right? I'm naturally good at
Big
persuading people.
Panto dance breaks.
I'm
Sorry,
naturally good
executive
at
producer.
random dance breaks. Like you list all those things. It might some of it might sound silly, but real talk, like these little things, being able to take the necessary time, you just list out all the activities. So you have your activities list with the plus, minus, and equals. Then you have the strengths list on the other side. There is an official strengths assessment that
Okay.
folks can do, that we're hoping to have as part of our offering as well. So folks that come along with the Mr. Meaningful Work journey and this course that we're doing will get access to that strength. So you can actually see officially what your strengths are. And then you can do a matching game, right? So you take your activities, the plus, minuses, and equals, you take your strengths and start matching. Okay, so what activities line up with my strengths, right? Some of those strengths might line up with activities that drain you. You're naturally good at it, but you're not super excited, like it doesn't activate you. Or you're naturally good at it and it's something that you're excited to do, and you just do this matching game, right? And then what you start to see is, okay, so this is what activates me, this is what I'm naturally good at. Is there an opportunity to create a plan, like, around this? What does it say about my values? What does it say about what's important to me? What does it say about where I want to go? What does it say about the identity? Like, how do I identify myself? Is my identity aligned with these tasks, activities, and strengths, or is it disconnected, from these things? And so I would say, as a very easy, practical first step for folks that are trying to just apply that, is look at what you do, look at what your strengths are, and then just kind of match those things together as a way to get started, and then building out from some of the other things.
Well, there you have it, people. Like very full, detailed, and comprehensive answers. And I was taking notes. I was, I don't want to have my hands on screen because I've been a little out of pocket, but I was taking my notes. It was a little
Yeah.
out of pocket. So once again, this meaningful work you've distilled down to a really great platform. Oh, God, I love alliteration. A really great platform of pillars: permission, people, excellence, and purpose. And I really like that, Tim, Mr. Meaningful Work. So, how else can people find you and connect with you to get more information? Obviously, you know that Tim is on LinkedIn. He's on LinkedIn here with me, and he is the executive producer of the late afternoon show. So you should definitely watch that. I do promote his stuff because I actually attend this stuff. So I wouldn't promote it if I wasn't going to it.
She
But
be on there.
I'm on
Yeah,
that thing,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
From
late at night
a
for me,
I know it's
but
late.
I'm there,
It's 8
you
o'clock.
know.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, how else can people find you, Tim, Mr. Meaningful Work, Olaore? How else can they find you and connect with you?
So obviously LinkedIn, thanks for the plug. My website, mrmeaningfulwork.com. So you go
Okay.
on mrmeaningfulwork.com and you see a little bit about what I'm doing. We're going to be revamping our website based on the new content that we're creating. But for now, you can go to mrmeaningfulwork.com, sign up for the newsletter, sign up for updates. You can check out previous seasons of the late afternoon show. Currently, we just have season 1 and season 2 on there. Still to upload 3, 4, and we're currently in 5. And then you can figure out how, if you want to engage with me by way of courses or speaking or just asking a question, you can always email me at tim@mrmeaningfulwork.com. So the website, LinkedIn, and find me on YouTube as well. So just Timothy Olaore. I love that. You know what's funny? You know what's funny is
Maybe I
you
should have
say,
asked you how to.
no, no,
Sorry.
no, 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 no. That's good.
Hola, hola.
I was gonna say is you pronounce my last name the way my mom does. She breaks down every syllable. She says Olaore, and that's how you've been doing, which I
Hola,
appreciate. And my dad, he says the whole thing like just one word, Olaore. So every time
hola.
you say it, like you remind me, it's like, oh, that's how mom says it.
I try not to say it because I don't want to put your whole government out, you
Oh,
know,
no, 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 no.
and
That's good.
AI.
That's good. The intentionality to say it correct is deeply appreciated.
Absolutely. I
Yeah,
mean, that's a part of my meaningful work. Our
yeah,
former president was Barack Hussein Obama. After a
yes,
while, he realized he could no longer be Barry. He had to be Barack Hussein
yeah,
or Barack Hussein Obama.
yeah.
So I'm gonna pronounce that thing the
All
way
of it.
mom was be pronouncing that thing,
All
you know?
roll all of them R's, get all of them vowels, hit every syllable. That is the way.
There's a lot of ways to connect with this guy, Mr. Meaningful Work. But
Yeah,
one way you can definitely continue to connect with him. I mean, he's out here, he's on the platforms, you know. But another way is, of course, through his Meaningful Work movement group here on LinkedIn. So you
oh
should
man,
join
thank
that.
you. Yes.
And then like it concentrates all of his meaningful work in one place. You know how I feel about groups because groups are community. Groups are where you get like that unfiltered and
Yes.
really direct connection with,
Yeah.
and notifications about what is going on. You don't have to scroll through your feed. You don't have to go through all of Tim's activity, which could be
Yeah.
reposting jobs
Yeah.
or reposting content from his friends and homies like me. You can go directly to,
Yeah.
Meaningful Work Movement, the group on LinkedIn, and
Yeah.
see just that curated sense of how you can do meaningful work every
Yeah.
single day and work
Absolutely.
towards what that means for you. And also, I'm a founding member. I'm not only
Yeah.
a client, I'm not only the president, I'm a client
Yeah. Yeah.
or
She's
whatever
in
it is. You know what
there.
I'm talking
She
about.
is organizing this whole thing though. Yo, it's real out here. Thank you. Thank you. Can't
So
thank you enough.
I
Yeah.
I really just want to thank you again for being accessible, being available. And before we go, I want to talk about Tim in another aspect because LinkedIn recently had, to be early in the year, they had a event which was talking about the employer creator, and that's another way that people are being more meaningful. Like, I don't think that you should get all like a job should provide all that you need. Like, you're so much more than what you do for work.
Mm.
So people are realizing that it's okay to just do this and get this from work and contribute that to work. Your whole and full and authentic self, your intrinsic value, your intrinsic motivation can be supplemented by who you are and what you do outside of work. And Tim and
Absolutely.
I are prime examples of that.
Yeah.
He works mostly in healthcare and he
Yeah.
does that, but he also has the permission, the people, the excellence,
Get
the
them.
purpose to do
Get
meaningful.
them.
And he's sharing that outside of his 9 to 5. He at work right now. He at work right now, people, because of the time difference.
Yeah.
But he is sharing that, and everyone should create, and everyone is a creator. So
Yeah.
as we wrap up, just remember like what meaningful work means for you And more people are realizing that their whole, full, and authentic self does not have to come directly and only from work, and you can supplement that, or it can be complementary, and be a creator here on LinkedIn or on YouTube's and Instagram lives like this guy. But
Yeah.
it's time to go, because I like to end on time, because I'm grateful for y'all. So thank you so very much to Mr. Meaningful Work, Olaore, or Olare.
There we go.
And
Both of
on that
them.
note, we out. Bye, y'all.
Peace.